Hi, everybody. Joseph kind of made me feel bad because I realized that I hadn't done a Facebook Live in a while. And honestly, most of it's because of vanity. Like, when I get my hair done and have my makeup on, it's usually for a thing, because I've got a thing. And so I don't have time to do Facebook Live. I only have time to do Facebook Live when I'm completely undone and have nowhere to go. And yes, I understand that, Alicia Keys is doing this all makeup thing, and I wear my hair natural. But makeup is a thing. It makes you look nice. It makes you feel nice. So, I'm vain. But there's been a consistent theme. And you guys, can you hear me? I want to make sure you can hear me. Just type in there and say you can hear me. There's been a consistent theme that I've seen among a lot of people that I mentor for and that I counsel. So I take it that thumbs up means you can hear me. That's good, because I would hate to be talking. Katrina, Alex, somebody tell me that you can hear me. Just type in the window. Hey, Monique, can you hear me? Thank you. Okay, because I'll be having all kinds of fucktitude when I make Facebook Live videos. How you doing? But this is a really kind of an important thing. You know how something can become popular and it can become a thing. Joseph and I were just talking about how a lot of people who are homophobic will point out that in ancient African religions that there's no word for homosexuality. Well, that's because it wasn't a thing. It just was. We talk about the fact that these new kids, and this is something that folks really need to consider, racists need to really consider, they ain't like our parents. We ain't like our parents. And so this word white privilege, we knew it was a thing, but we didn't have a word for it. So then it becomes something. But we just didn't have a word for it. So for people to sit up and say that homosexuality didn't exist in ancient Africa because there was no word for it, that's not true. There was no word for white privilege until somebody said white privilege. I did not grow up. I just turned 48 hearing white privilege. So, things become a thing and then they become popular. Now, come on, y'all. American Horror Story, people learning about black witches like Marie Laveau, who, a lot of people didn't know about. Magical people cannot fathom that. How could you not know about Marie Laveau? Because folks wasn't thinking about Marie Laveau. You have to understand that TV is usually made for people who don't read. Really. If you watch TV a lot, you won't read. If you're on Facebook a lot, you won't read. And I know that, I used to eat up books, but when you built your business on social media and people are reaching out to you all day long, you're reading that. So when you get off of the computer, because I got to go read The Conjure Woman again for the umpteenth time for our intensive, because I like to study with my students. But, once you've been reading all day, either on a computer screen, it's hard to sit down with a book. That's maybe why Kindles kind of work out so well. I still can't do Kindle too much. I've gone through a few Kindle books, but they've usually been on like trips and stuff. It's not sitting up in my house. It's a physical thing, I think, with books. But I do enjoy an electronic book. The reason why I'm prattling on is because we have this information overload. So, of course, every person that knows I'm a witch sent me that thing about the Donald Trump spell. And I just let, I did the Peanut Gallery on Joseph's Facebook Live. I'll let him talk about that. But what I want to talk to you about is witchcraft in general. I can't sing. You all don't ever want to hear me sing. When I'm initiated and I got to sing for the crowd, I really feel sorry for my godchildren. I really do. It's bad, very bad. I can't dance, If I could dance, I'd have my ass out at the club right now, trying to get me a boo. I can't dance. I'm just joking about the boo part, but I would be out shaking my ass somewhere if I could, because it's fun. People like to dance. So we see witchcraft. And we see Beyonce, and she's talking about, and even if you've never practiced magic in your life, if you are remotely conscious about the history and the struggle of black people, you got lemonade. You understood it from the beginning to the end. I encourage you to watch a movie called Beasts of the Southern Wild. I think I had just started practicing when my daughter and I finally, because I was too busy to go to movies, finally sat down. I just become a voodoo sant and watched this movie. And at the beginning of the movie, there are two large, giant black boars. And they're coming for her. And you really think they're coming from her. Because I don't know if y'all ever dealt with a boar, but you probably don't want to. And when they get right in front of this black little girl, they bow. And so then you start thinking about what you're learning about voodoo, and you realize that black boars are offered to Azili Danto, which is the mother spirit, the power spirit. She's the one you go to when you want to get it done. She's the worker. She doesn't wait for a man to do it. She does it herself. She is the spirit of the woman in the marketplace. Okay? And we have other spirits like Zaka for farming, but she's specifically that for us. And for that for me. There might be other forms for other people. There are different Azilis as well. People will confuse Azili Freda and Azili Danto. Don't do it. Not a good look. Not at all. So, but that happens when you start looking online and you start researching a lot of stuff and you start getting misinformation. So the only way, it's just like any other form of research, and your spiritual life should be really important to you. You know, think about how you read the Bible when you were a Christian. Well, how you were supposed to read the Bible, because we know all these folks that claim to be Christian have not read their Bibles, because I can take them to task because I've read the Bible back and forth. I've never been able to read it all the way through in one swoop. But I know the Bible, and I can challenge so-called Christians about their own word. I grew up in the church. And I paid attention, because the churches I went into weren't all hooping and hollering and jumping around, being possessed by spirits that they knew nothing about. No, I went to conservative churches that sat down and combed through the Bible. The only problem with that was they went through the words, they went through that, but they didn't critically explain it to you. They'd read you a passage in isolation, here and there, and put together a whole sermon wrapped around their own ideals and beliefs rather than what the book actually said. And then they tossed in a whole bunch of lies about it being the inspired word of God, and these were the men who walked with Jesus Christ when it was written 300 years after he died. They don't talk about the Council of Nicaea. They don't talk about the missing books of the Bible. No, she is not an Azili. No, she's separate. She's the C, and she's married to Agwe. But Agwe is also married to Freda. Okay? It's complicated cosmology. It takes a lot of study. Okay? So, and it takes a lot of devotion. And you really got to believe in it. Which is something I want to talk to you guys about, choosing these damn religions. I have people. I've talked to pagan and a Christian in my latest readings, and both of them lack something that I think everybody needs to know. I'm not going to talk about their personal situations because I'm their reader and that's confidential. But what's important, what the lesson I learned, what the thing is, I'm like, I need to talk to them. I need to have something really important to talk to them about, because I don't like people who get on Facebook Live and show you they're cooking their dinner or playing with their kids. You really should have something to say. Unfortunately, social media has made it so anybody with any type of prattle could get on and say anything. And that's, not everybody should probably even have computers at that point. But when you're talking about magic, okay, magic, witchcraft, and, you know, if you're like me, I'm telling you, one of the things I love the most about being a witch and owning a store, I don't think I practice the way I do. I don't think I'd have the passion the way I did if I wasn't creating something to share with other people. Yeah, you got to pay for it because it costs money to make. And it, what you pay is not just, hold on, just about scratching my leather chairs. Y'all should see my leather chairs. Cat, you're my child. I'll beat you. You better go on somewhere. Yeah. She know what's up. Scratching up on my goddamn leather. You can't have nothing. Pets and children, they'll ruin every fucking thing. Including your train of thought. Let me get back to this. So you get into paganism, witchcraft, and sometimes you don't take that time to study. Sometimes you latch on to the closest thing that you think looks interesting. You haven't even read. You don't know the details. You're not even willing in religions that require that you get a reading from a priest to find out who your spirit is. Yeah, my cats, because my cats be like my kids. They bad. That's okay. I got something for that too. Because my cat Jezebel actually, the vet put her on Prozac, but she eats around her food and won't eat the Prozac. So Trinity says she needs therapy. I'm like, you smoking crack now. What I'm going to do is we're going to have some form of correction. She might get put in the corner, kept in the bathroom for a minute, but we're going to have to train this little heifer not to tear up my furniture. That's okay, because when I move after the youngest one goes to college, ain't none of them think, no, they ain't coming with me. No, Ashley, she gets Juzzy, and Marky's elderly, so she probably will not be any longer with us, but watch that cat live to be 25 and be pissed off about it the whole time. But back to witchcraft, okay? So you hear about people who are worshiping a particular god, goddess, like Hecate's really big. She's a thing now for people. And that's kind of disgusting. You're talking about the queen of all witches in a very old religion. May not be as old as voodoo or Kemeticism, but it's old. It's older than any y'all can identify an ancestor with, okay? And so, but you don't have the magical Greek papyri. You haven't studied. It's like, right, it is very disrespectful. So, or you have, it's like being a Christian and not having a Bible. You want to do these things. Your heart's in the right place. And it's not just that particular devotee, it's people that just don't understand it. It's because a lot of these religions and practices died, and gods are being venerated, woke up, as you would say. They never really went anywhere. But I'm like this: if you don't ask me to do nothing for you, I ain't gonna do nothing for you. And if you only come to me when you want something, I'm gonna say, who are you? You all got that one friend. Y'all know that bitch that needs $20. And she will call you. You be on your whole way out the doors, putting on a heel, and well, maybe putting your heels in one hand and put on your gym shoes in the other. Exactly. The Christian hating the poor. Because they don't pay attention to their own books. They don't study. Or they only want to come to the throne of grace when they want something. You know what? I try to train my kids in this manner. You are not going to abuse me. You are not going to abuse me by doing things like not doing as you're told. You're not going to be disrespectful. You're not going to be nasty in my house. You're going to follow my rules, which there really aren't many, because I have a different type of moral code from my kid. My kid is being taught the things that really matter about being a decent person, rather than all the percent shit like you're not going to want to have sex. Come on now. And the more you tell children no, especially with no reason, that is a recipe for rebellion. My kid will not practice witchcraft. I mean, really, how many parents do you have to say, hey, come on down here in the root room, let's burn the motherfucker up, come on. What kid wouldn't want to do that? Mine. So, and it's not all that. Sometimes you're like, let's go heal somebody. Let's go bless somebody. And teenagers are selfish by definition. So what I do as a parent is I teach her how to heal and help others. She tutors people for free. She wants to go and feed homeless people. We are used to pulling money out of our pocketbooks to give to somebody that doesn't have any money. And sometimes they're spirits. They'll answer you. This Christmas, Joseph and I were at the International Grocery Store, and there was this brother who I'd actually never seen before. In Columbus, you don't see this very often unless you go in the hood. And the International Grocery Store is like on the edge of the hood, where where the white folks will still kind of go. But and even white folks go to the hood here. It's a very different thing here. But we'd never seen that homeless man before, and Joseph gave him $20, I'm sure, something like that, because he went over there and he gave the man some money. And he said, "Thanks, Joe." Now, Joseph had just gotten here like a week ago. About a week ago. So you would tell me how this homeless man that I'd never seen in my many trips to the grocery store knew his name. Okay? So, but back to things being a thing. Right. And teenagers are going to be self-centered because the realization is with teenagers is that they're coming into who they are. Now, they've always been that person because you are who you are by about the time you're 5, 6, 7 years old. But you don't understand that until you actually start making decisions that teenagers have to do. Those first decisions that you had to make when your parents weren't in the room, when they weren't there to keep you out of trouble. And sometimes you make a good decision, sometimes you make a bad decision. We all do. And I was counseling my client about being digmatized, okay? And I'm sorry, if y'all ain't never been digmatized, well, first of all, I kind of feel sorry for you because it's really good. But what I've experienced about good sex is that the craziest motherfuckers usually give the best head, and they're hung. That's my experience. And pretty soon, you'll be out down at the Western Union about to send some motherfucker money talking about, what am I doing? Digmatized. It's magic. Okay? Sex is a spiritual connection. It's not one that's regulated to marriage like all this other bullshit that they try to push. But it is a spiritual connection. You call on God. If you don't believe in God, you call on God. You call on Jesus. You might even call on some of the saints. So, back to witchcraft being a thing. If you don't have a benefit in your life from this practice, because as Judica Isle says, it levels the playing field. It ain't none of that charmed Samantha, Tabitha, or Sabrina. It's not that. In fact, some of the best spells take the longest time to manifest. They stick around a lot longer. Mason, thanks for sharing. And I will get back to you on that email that you sent to me. I just been a lot busy. Got a lot of stuff going on. And what I told our circle this weekend, first of all, you don't let anybody walk through your house unaccompanied. And you don't trust any witch. Because just as they have the power to bless you, they have the power to really fuck you up. And that gets back to this whole Playin Witch. I watched a sister on YouTube. I don't know who she was. But she broke that shit down. She was in a towel. And I was almost, that's another thing. Give people a minute. I can't tell you about, tell your daddy hi, Ash. Tell him I miss him. I want him to come visit here. All right? That's my Uncle Josie. Uncle Josie introduced me to the prophet. And I always trash people's names. Gurban, I believe. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Kabil Gurban. That's some deep shit. The prophet is kind of what set me on other forms of thinking. Also, fiction is a powerful thing. Anne Rice's Memnoch the Devil really rocked me to my Christian core because she created a completely plausible story with roots deep in paganism about the origins of the adversary. And he ain't who you think he is. That's all I've got to say to you about what they call the devil. Okay? There are evil entities, there are evil spirits, make no doubt. But remember, Lucifer was an angel. So if this Lucifer translates into the Satan, which it doesn't, that's a whole another Facebook Live, but a whole other book called The Origins of Satan, which I encourage you to read. Read about this stuff that we blindly believe in. And same thing about witchcraft. You know, you watch a few videos, you get a few recipes, and you're Merlin all of the goddamn sudden. I actually believe that there are wizards and warlock. I believe that's some next level shit. And why people always associate them with men is simply because of misogyny and oppression, but we won't even get there. You know, all we get is crone. Okay. There are some next level witches. There are folk magicians. There's high magic. There's all different types of magic that you can learn. Some of them really speak to me because they're on an academic level. If you didn't listen to our show with Al Cummings, shout out Al. This man basically has a PhD in witchcraft, if you want to make it simple. And he's got the greatest accent, too, because, you know, I got a thing for the Brits. But, you know, he's mind-blowingly intelligent. And he can explain to you how witchcraft relates to science. And then, you know, you have that whole other alchemy component, which he didn't discuss, which I'm hoping he can and will discuss on our show in the future. But, you know, there's a whole lot of study, and there's people spend a lot of money. I can tell you that for a fact. There's a whole bunch of people out here that don't know what the fuck they're doing that spend a lot of money. And what I want you to do is, you know, of course, I love my store. I want it to be a success. I want to sell you decent products. I want to make enough money so I don't have to have a day job and I can do this full time. I want to make money so I can go all over the world and experience and educate myself in the mysticisms of other cultures and bring it back in the ones that I am permitted to share with you, I could share. Okay? That's why smart people get several initiations. It's for learning. It's not for titles. It's not for power. What you'll find is people that have multiple initiations usually only take children in one. But having that knowledge of all different types of magic is a good thing. But you're not going to get it. Please, if you buy something from my store, I have a closed group for my customers only. So if you're not in it, let me know. I'll put you in it. The reason why it's closed is because I don't want people seeing other people's comments. If it was a public group, then there may be people here practicing witchcraft that they don't want people to see. Now, I'll even take the group secret. And the only reason why I take the group secret is so that people can't see that you're a member of that group. If you make that type of information known on your Facebook page. Because privacy settings, I don't know if you could tweak them that small. But I would much rather, if you spent your money, that you knew what you were doing when you got the stuff. Now, I'll put descriptions on some stuff. I'll put a little spell in. But for the beginning client, I'll put in some training wheels. I'll put in some instructions. Because I was just reading about working with puppets and doing sympathetic magic and how you can use candles and baptize them in the name of your target, whether it is good or baneful magic. But there ain't no spell like a laying on of hands. So that sometimes that people need a cleansing, they need to travel to somebody. They need to be standing there stripped naked in front of the priest or priestess. Like, I'm not talking about nothing freaky here. Like me, if I'm working with another woman or, you know, a man working with another man, have that bath poured over them. Have hands put on them. Be prayed over. Okay? Supervise the things that they're doing as they receive the bath. Then you can, we also have those baths on our website for local people. Then you can, once you get an idea of how to do it, then yeah, you can start trying to do this stuff at home. I don't do a lot of spell work for people. When I do, number one, y'all ain't gonna know about it, because that's just like prayer. Do you get up and announce? Yes, I mean that's one of the biggest things that held on. Oils, laying of hands, incense, candles. You know, that's why it's the primary part of our practice. But think about all the stuff we lost. the stuff we don't know how to do because we're an oral tradition, and people stop speaking the names of those spirits, so the spirits stop giving them that information. That's why in a lot of cultures it's very important that an ancestor place be set up at the table, or someplace, like some places in these foreign countries they'll even put the dead body at the table. I saw some shit in anthropology. I was like, whoa, no. But yeah. Or they'll go and they'll open the tomb a year later and wash the bones and re-wop the bones and put the bones back in the tomb. And that's because you believe in the powers of the ancestors, whether you call them guardian angels, ancestors, whatever. They're spirits who have passed on who are going to watch over you. Every ancestor is not going to watch over you. Think about, yeah, I wanted to be an anthropologist, and then my parents told me no because I'd be poor and broke and digging holes all over the world, and I probably would die an old maid. They just went the whole Margaret Mead on me, and I was just like, oh, wow, y'all suck. You know, they like go to college and do something else. But should have been an anthropologist. But that doesn't keep me from reading and studying how, if you guys notice, I've been putting witchcraft stuff up about witches in Romania, witches in Poland. Why? Because if you practice, you're going to see the similarities. You know, one thing that humanizes people is when they start to realize that other people from different backgrounds, different colors, different cultures have so much in common with them. You will find that the most prejudiced or racist people, because you can be prejudiced, not racist. You have to be prejudiced to be racist. Have never really had experiences with people from other cultures. So they make their preconceived decisions about you based on what they see on TV or how we're represented in the media. Bad move. You know, good or bad, you know, people always assuming that Asians are going to be super intelligent. That must be a bitch. That might, I don't know what's the worst thing. People assuming you're dumb or people assuming that you're smart. Because that's a burden. And not everybody meets that expectation. You know, just like when black people are smart and they're the only one in the room with a bunch of white people, then all of a sudden we're supposed to tell them everything about what every black person feels. You would never do that to a white person. You would never say, how does your race feel? And when you do, boo-boo, then you get butt hurt. That's where the butt hurt comes in. That's when people act like they're demons with holy water poured on them when they hear the word white privilege. Because they know their culpability. So, of course, I'm just like kind of going off on tangents because I keep reading y'all's comments. But the reality is not all of us are meant to practice witches. I think as be practicing witches, not all of us are meant to be diviners. You know, I'm seriously, you know, such an empath that I'm going to probably have to limit my readings because some of this shit that I'm going through with my clients is just downright distressing. Then I got to go get the black candle or the cleansing bath, and I'm concerned. I don't just read and take your money and stop thinking about you. Even if you're a dumbass, I'm like, oh my God, are they going to go do something stupid again? So it's hard to be a diviner. So not all diviners are workers. Not all diviners want that responsibility. You have to know divination skills to be a good worker, though, or a good witch. You have to. Because you have to know whether or not you should be doing the shit in the first place. You know, some people are so intuitive that they just know. And sometimes some situations are, I don't even have to ask. I'm like, where's the roots? Where's candle? Where's my shit? Let's go. But other times I gotta be like, something funny here. I'm just not gonna jump up. My family is the ones. They'll call me and be like, look, I need you to fuck somebody up, blah, 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 blah. And you know how you be all in it for your family because that's your blood and that's your, you know, your ace or your best friend. And then you start to think about the things that you don't like about that particular family member or friend and realize that somewhere along the line they might have fucked up. And spellwork, number one, may not be the solution to their problem, or that target that they want you to go after is not the right target. Most of the time, people are not hexed. They need fixing. They're broken. And sometimes they've allowed other people to break them. And then there are other times where you were so fucking spiritually unaware, you have left yourself wide open that if somebody just put shade in your direction, ain't half an evil eye, they can fuck you up. Don't take much. It doesn't. I wasn't practicing. I didn't know what I was doing. I cursed somebody for a decade. And I saw them on TV all fucked up. And I'm like, ooh, I'm sorry. let's take that, let's not do that. It's okay. I'm good now. Now I can't undo somebody else's magic. Howsoever, I can bring mine full circle. I can close a spell. You're supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to be able to end a spell. You're supposed to have caveats in your spell. I fucked this man up good that fucked with my family. And you know what the caveat in the spell was? Until you do right. Now, I did a Sealy. I love the Sealy caveat. You're going to be fucked up. This man is in prison now. He went from being a prison guard to being in prison. Because he wouldn't do right. And he got crazier and crazier. Look at Mister laying there in his own vomit. Because he wouldn't let someone talk to her own sister. So, this is a powerful working. These things do work. I don't spend my money on anything that don't work. But yet and still, it's kind of like science when you're a chemist and you do an experiment and you get the reaction. That reaction may be same but different every other time when you do a spell and it works. You're like, whoa. But that's what it's supposed to do. And it's supposed to increase your faith. But think about if you don't practice that spell. Think about if all those herbs and roots that you bought from me or somebody else and all those books never get read. Think about if all these curios, and there's a spell that I need to do it. I supposed to have been done. I'm going to do this spell tomorrow. The spell that I ain't going to tell y'all about, but I need my ass whooped for not doing it. And, but Amanda, the thing about it is, and you talk about somebody's level. Y'all don't know what level I'm on because I don't show you what I do. Okay? And some of you are real quick. You ain't been on a witch 5 minutes and you reading tarot cards online for an audience, or you're showing somebody your candle work. I wish I would post my fucking candle in a Facebook group and ask somebody what it is. If you gotta do that, you really should do it in private because that helps you to develop your skill, and you should work probably with a mentor or one or two people. But if you got to get in a crowd of people and say, what does this mean? Maybe somebody else should burn the candle for you. So, like I said, I am not a doctor. I'm a witch doctor. But if I need my glasses, I'm not going to go to another worker to get my eye exam. I'm going to go to that person with that funny ass crazy machine that always freaks me out because it looks like a robot. And I'm going to get my eyes examined. So, I'm talking to people, talked to somebody that this week that $15,000 spent with a fake psychic. And the person's terrified because they actually believe the person actually had some power. First of all, if you come and get a reading from me, and this might cut off because I'm about to run out of power. I think Joseph took the charge downstairs because it is his. Real magicians and witches don't cheat customers. And they don't charge exorbitant amounts, and you don't see results. In fact, some witches are real good. They don't get paid till after the work is done because they know good and fucking well that you're going to pay your witch. If the spell works, you're going to pay your witch. Watch that Romanian witch. You're like, oh yeah, I do spells first all the time because ain't nobody going to not pay me. Okay? So when you getting somebody and they're all up in your crotch for every dime that you make, you might have a problem. I enjoy doing workings for people because they work. But there's also that risk of, sometimes things don't work out the way you think they're going to work. The spell worked, but it just didn't work out the way you think it worked, and you don't want to disappoint your client. Okay? But you got to let your client know. And hi, Naki, right? Naki, I'm bad with names. How you doing? You got to let your client know the situation. And then on top of that, when I do a working with a client, the client is always simultaneously doing something with me, either at the same time, the same day, or the same, If I'm doing a candle, I'm going to have you take a bath. If I'm doing a candle, I'm going to have you do a smaller candle at home every day at a certain time, or on a certain day, or in a specific moon phase. Okay? Yeah, right. All of this stuff behind me could be props, And one of the things is about herbs is I keep a lot of them in small quantities because after a while they're not good anymore. And if they're not using a formulation of mine, but I always keep some shit at the ready. It's kind of like having a gun in a holster. But you got to remember you're going to suffer a certain amount of loss because this is stuff that has a spirit, The minute you cut it, the spirit begins to die. That's why you really shouldn't crush your herbs until you're about ready to use them, because the essential oils that are in them will then come out. That magic that herb, no matter how dried, unless it's too dried and too old, there is still some spirit left in them. And that's the reason why they used to have wakes. See if you're going to wake up. You look dead. I read a story about a man buried his cat because it got hit by a car. 4 days later, that motherfucking cat came back. They used to put bells in graves. That's why they wait, because they lay your ass out for a week to make sure you wasn't getting back up again. So what you think might be dead might have a little life in it yet, which has been proven by the resurrection of dead religions. But see, the thing about African religions is ours never died. People didn't really know about them, but it never died. So, when you see these people, they're getting ready to do this big old public cursing of Trump. Joseph has given you your walking instructions. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll share his video on my page. But there are certain ways to do large spell workings, most definitely. Community, all this soul practitioner stuff. Somebody was asking me, how do I connect with the Orisha today? Talk to a priest. Maybe do a little research and see what role you want the Orisha to play in your life. Do you want to practice Ifa? Do you want to practice Santeria? Or do you find out about this whole family of other spirits that are called Lawa, or the 21 divisions, which you'll see some intersections there? How can you make a decision about a religion you have not studied? You can't be a witch by reading a book, but you can't be one by not. Unless you got somebody sitting there next to you that's going to practice and be a witch. And I don't know many of you who have that. You're not going to have somebody that's going to sit there every day with you and walk you through it. You won't be as blessed as I am to have a fucking 2-year internship with skilled witches. Okay? So, yeah, it takes a little bit of reading, but it takes a whole lot of action. And don't be guilty. I'm a book hoarder. You got all these books and but I'm actually practicing. I may not be getting to practice all the stuff that's in all of these books that I'm collecting, but hopefully one day I'll retire. I'll be able to sit down and maybe read some more of this, or maybe I'll be doing witchcraft full time and I'll be able to get more. But trust and believe, I'm always trying to get more. But if you take the roots in your house and you take the books in your house, and you're scared to work with them, or you never looked at them, or you don't know. With deities, it's a constant relationship thing, and it's hard. These religions do not make your life easier. They make your life more complex. But the benefits are astounding. But if you don't, it's just like that friend who calls you when she wants something. If you ain't got no relationship with that friend, outside of the $20 you got to loan them every couple of months, when they call, you don't want to talk to them. You will look at the caller ID and you will send that shit to voicemail. Don't be like that with your spirits. I try every day to get better at that. And trust me, after spending majority of my life as a monotheist, it's a change in the way you wake up in the morning and go to bed at night. It's the change in the way that you look at things. Like when you don't want to eat in front of your ancestors without offering them something. Do you know how hard that is to get used to? People always tell me what they doing. What half these people ain't doing shit. I know. I read for a lot of you. I know what you're doing. And in closing, because I know this phone gonna die soon. Sometimes I think about the way my readings go, because I'm a real hard ass. I'm not. If you're looking for somebody to pet you and tell you what you want to hear, don't buy a reading from me. And don't waste your reading asking me questions you already fucking know the answer to. Because I'm going to ask you in the course of the reading, do you really want to waste your money on this? You know good and goddamn well what the answer is. Next question. So, I could come off as a little mean. But I'm sometimes just that swift kick in the ass you might need. And trust me, I swift kick myself in the ass daily. It ain't just you. I mean, you can ask Ashley and Joseph how I am. Okay? Yeah, when you feel guilty, it's like your mama staring at you like you better make me a plate. Okay? Spell work can be daily, yes. But it doesn't have to be that. People think about this shit you see on TV. It's the way you mop your floors. It's the way you pray. It's the way you treat people around you, whether you're blessing or curse. It's the way you live your life. It's the way you present your home. You cannot be a priest or a priestess and live in filth. You can't fix nobody else's life or aid in it if you can't fix yourself. And it's hard because we're not perfect. And so every day I make mistakes. Every day I fuck up something new. But the difference is that makes you a spiritual advisor or priestess or priest material is you're not making the same mistakes twice. The first time you make it, it's a mistake. The next time you make it, it's a decision. And that's what very, very few of my clients and the rest of the world will be willing to admit. They understand it. They just don't want to be accountable for it. And let me tell you, boo-boo, I have been stigmatized. I have been cheated on. I have declared bankruptcy. I have lost my home. Karen was the first person to tell me, girl, you need to stop paying your bills. And I was like, what? I pay my bills. Some new shit. She broke down that bankruptcy. And I'm like, oh, yeah, white folks been doing this for years. Let me go get me some. You know, you learn how to position yourself strategically to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented before you. That's what magic is all about. Taking advantage of opportunities that are put in front of you. So you can't do magic without mundane action. So the bottom line is this. You have me do a spell for you to have the power to leave some man. And abuse is a different story. We're not going to talk about that right now. But just your run-of-the-mill relationship. There's not a goddamn thing I could do for you if you pick it up as soon as he calls. So if you're going to tell me I need some cut and clear work, you're going to have to commit to blocking that person's number. If that person is harassing you, you have to commit to a restraining order. Because I can do all kind of shit in the background. It's so funny in my mind. Because being in the church, I said I can do. And all Christ who strengthens me came into my brain. Because you can leave the church, but the church ain't never going to leave you. Okay? So, you know, if you want work done, you have to be participatory. That is why I encourage people to buy products and do the work themselves. I have a personal investment in all of my clients, but nobody should have a deeper personal investment in you than you. And so when you're talking about being a witch and practicing witchcraft, You can't be new to this. You got to be true to this. I don't care if you practice for 5 minutes. Learn everything you can about one particular spell, one particular root. Learn it quick, and move on and keep learning and keep learning. But you will rut. You will stagnate. It might be the 4 of diamonds in your money. It might be the 4 of hearts in your relationships. It might be the 4 of clubs in your manifestation in your work. And it might be the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in spades. But you're going to get stuck. You don't evolve. You'll get stuck. You'll see people that get married and they don't have kids. And you'll see that very few of those couples stay married for a very long time. Or you don't buy a house. Or you don't do these rites of passage that help you grow, develop, and do new things, take risks, and have challenges. You can't live a life without risk. And, you're going to end up with a life full of regret. A life without risk is a life full of regret. You might regret a few things if you take a risk, but you are really, when you die, you're on your deathbed, you're going to think about the shit you didn't get the chance to do more than the mistakes that you made. So what you got to understand is nobody's perfect. Nobody knows everything. People always tell me they want to get on my level, read a damn book. Talk to somebody. Take out some herbs. Take out some roots. Do something. That's why we're going to have 4 days of doing something. Because sometimes people say they don't know where to start. But the truth is, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Maybe you need a little motivation. Maybe you need to be around like minds. Maybe you need some inspiration. But you know where to start. If it's a candle and a glass of water, and most of you, 99.9% of all Negroes went to church. So you know what to do. You just got to address it maybe in a different way. Okay? So you combine, don't get online and you don't know nothing. I see some of y'all out here, you embarrass me. Because you don't know nothing. But see, I'm nice enough not to bust you out in public. And because people did that to me. People attacked me for practicing magic and for talking about it in public. Who is she? We don't know who she is. Where's she come from? Oh, she must be a fraud. So guess what? I don't talk about it. I be about it. You don't see me online posting Spellwork. Because actually, doing that is, if I do a reading or whatever, I'm showing it to teach you something, not to talk about doing readings for people, not doing readings for people online, because that is a deeply personal thing. That's why we have people on our radio show go anonymous with their questions. I would never ask anybody to call in and share their voice, because that's a deeply personal, private thing. But there are lessons and readings that can be taught to pretty much anybody. So if you keep it anonymous, somebody else might get a word they need to hear. Okay? But yes, walk barefoot. Manuel's talking about the elements. Hug a damn tree. Grow a plant. I bought my house because I wanted a garden. And I gardened since I was a little girl. That's magic. Manifesting something out of a seed. We do that when we have children. We manifest something out of a seed and an egg. And what you do with that, how does your garden grow, is very important. And you're going to have weeds. There's going to be flowers that die. There's going to be flowers that grow in ways that you did not expect, nor maybe did you want. You ever get that plant that just grows every fucking where, like ivy? But that's that plant. So you can't tell that plant how to grow. And so some of the best things about this practice and gardening and everything else, I learned it from being somebody's mom. I also learned that magic works really well from being somebody's mom. So, right, Zach's telling the truth. Don't share your stuff. That's private. That's between you and your client. That's between you and your heart. That's between you and your God. It's sacred. Not everything is for public display. It's called the black craft. Kim, search for it on Facebook. You can even sign up to receive notifications, usually every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. But I know my phone is going to die. So, how does your garden grow? I don't care what it is. I don't care what your hobbies are. You got to cultivate them. So you have to cultivate. I mean to make you cry. You have to cultivate your magic just like you cultivate anything. Your house won't clean itself. Man, if I wish I could put my hands together like I Dream of Genie and everything would be cleaned up and everything with my hair would be newly twisted and all that other shit. Yeah. No, boo-boo. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, learn magic from being somebody's mom. And they give you excellent little test subjects. And I'm not talking about doing anything mean. I'm talking about providing a little extra guidance for your children. And when people talk about I had a praying grandma, that's exactly what they meant. That she did spell work. She invoked a spirit, a God, to save your life. So don't be hating on the praying grandmothers now that you ain't Christians no more. Okay? Spell work is deeply personal. You shouldn't announce on the internet a mass spell. You don't think these people practice witchcraft? I posted an article the other day about how they did this Peppy the Frog thing and literally woke up an Egyptian god. Nobody commented on it because nobody wanted to look stupid because that shit is actually plausible. That through a meme, somebody did some research, read a book. I found out about this god of destruction that was shaped like a frog and then got everybody to believe in the frog. Kind of like the golden calf. Yes, he's presently. Come on, look at this motherfucker. He can't think, he can't tell the truth to save his life. He said grab somebody by their pussy and they still made him president. You gonna tell me that ain't witchcraft? But you gonna announce when you do a spell on him. That's gotta be the dumbest shit I've ever heard in life. You are going to publicly announce when you gonna fuck somebody up. You know, it's just like fist fighting. I'm one of those people, don't stand there and talk a lot of shit. That person be talking all that shit, taking all that shit, and takes that real first stupid ass swing. They might even just, because you gotta touch me to piss me off. And I'm gonna fuck you up. While you're standing there beating your goddamn chest like the ape that you are, I am going to find an opportunity to get in the middle and bust you in your fucking vest. That's how you fight. Because too many people let their guard down by doing dumb shit. You know, folks like to talk shit. I like to fight. So you can either sit here all night, talk about what you're going to do, or you're going to go do it. But that's what's wrong. We're all talking about what we're going to do, who we're going to fuck up. And we ain't doing it. I was so mad because I actually was geeked last August 10th when we had this big massive spell work, and then my ass couldn't find no blood. Well, I found it. I couldn't find animal blood. And I couldn't do my spell like I said I was going to. And I'm like, ain't somebody going to call me on this shit? So if you don't talk about it and things don't really work out the way they're supposed to, you can't adapt and you won't pretty much disappoint people's expectations. You really shouldn't create false expectations. Okay? So, you know, I mean, I think their hearts are in the really the right place, and I'm really liking to see that people are willing to go full public about using magic to accomplish the goals it was meant to provide. That's fabulous. That's wonderful. But let's figure out a more intelligent way to do it. Let's figure out the occult means secret, goddammit. Are you stupid? It doesn't mean tell everybody. It doesn't mean show people what you know. It doesn't mean show people all that you have. The only reasons why you all have seen inside pictures of my working space is because I want you to see where I'm making your products. But I'm not going to show you my working spaces. show you my production spaces. But you'll never see pictures of all the altars in my house. You will walk in my house and you won't even know where all the altars are. Because that's the way it's supposed to work. It's called the occult for a reason. Occult means hidden. Means esoteric. It means earned. It means secrets. It means work. It doesn't mean buy a bunch of herbs, look at them, and never use them. Because you just wasted money and you really fucking up the environment when you do that. And that's another story for another time, because High John ain't for every goddamn thing, and now it's endangered. But I have little bits of it to sell you so that you don't go around raping the earth for something that you may not even need. High John can be used, but there's plenty of other things that can be used in its place when you don't have it, and I've had to do so because it's hard to get. But I found a bunch, and I'm sharing it for a decent price. But you gonna pay for the fact that I had to find it, you know? But don't buy it if you ain't gonna use it. Don't buy it if you don't know how to use it. God, it's what email is for. Yeah, I paid $40 for 5 High John seeds from Australia. $40. Yep, just to try to grow it, because I might fuck it up. You know, but I ain't gonna post. I just planted High John today, and then for people to hate all on my poor little shit and it fails, you know, because people who do that don't put up the proper protections either. They just brag about what they did, and then all the haters throw shade, and then you don't wonder, why didn't my magic work? Because you a dumbass. Because you got a big mouth. So realize that, you know, man, nothing humbled me more than experienced practitioners when I first started out, and they weren't even right when they did it because I hadn't done anything wrong. There are people who are not in business today. They had these damn pseudo Facebook stores. When I put a picture up in a private group of my first mojo bag, and it wasn't charged, and they slaughtered me. There was nothing wrong with the bag, mind you. Just haters. So the bag worked, because when I got off and finished taking the picture, I charged the shit out of it, gave it to the person who needed it. Worked like a charm. And see, that's what made me make another mojo bag. But if I had never given that bag to somebody and put it to work, I might have believed what they said about me when I did it and they attacked me. And I might not be talking to you about this right now. Don't base your magic on what other people think. Don't base your religion on what other people think. If I talk to grown people every goddamn day who's scared to tell their parents that they ain't Christians no more, but that parents ain't paying their bills. It's not about being disrespectful. It's about being true. You're being disrespectful to yourself if you can't tell the truth. You don't have to wear it from the rooftops, you know, and if don't ask, don't tell, okay, if that works for you, that's fine. But you don't have to worry about people who are no longer taking care of your daily needs and what they think. You don't go to work for them. In fact, you may end up working so that you can support them when they can't support themselves. So how are they going to tell you what to do with your life? Now, if you're a minor and you live under the roof with your parents, you're just going to have to wait. But that's not always a bad thing, because most of these young people shouldn't be practicing magic. I was in my 40s when I started, and I was mad because I thought I'd wasted all of this time not learning cards. It was hard because you get old and you smoke a lot of weed and your brain doesn't work like it used to. And it's like it's hard to catch on when I'm seeing wonder kids like Joseph who have ate, slept, and drank magic since they were knee-high to a goddamn grasshopper, and they're running circles around me. But I also realized that if I had magic when I was 20 years old, I might be dead or I might be really, really rich. It's one of them half and half things. I don't know. Okay? So, learn. Enjoy learning. Talk to people that you trust. Participate in groups if you want to. Ask questions. Don't tear people apart that don't know what you know. Don't embarrass people in public that are doing things that you deem to be inappropriate, but at the same time, be a model, be a role model, model the behavior of what you want them to do. Because if showing off and flossing wasn't a thing, they wouldn't do it. So the older witches and the more experienced witches have a lot of accountability there when it comes to flossing, and younger people who are in the craft feel like they have to have some form of legitimacy. I wish a motherfucker would. Yeah, I'm legit. I'm too legit to quit. You ever hear about me? Even the motherfucking rip-off report put up about me was not, there was nothing in there about them being ripped off. There wasn't anything in there about me being a fraud. Yet somebody got on my brother's page telling me I wasn't who I said I was going to be. She got her ass handed to her. Because once again, she listened to rumors and conjecture and what the haters were saying, when she could have come to me at any given time and found out the truth. People are not interested in the truth. People are interested in scandal and assholery. And ain't nobody got time for that. My child gets up very early. And I have a feeling she always missed the bus. I have to take her. So I'm going to take my ass to bed. You know, yeah, you legit. You doing something right when you got haters. If folks ain't fucking with you, you know, man, you ain't really doing nothing. But, you know, at the same time, who wants to deal with all of that? You know? That's why I stay out of these groups. Who wants to deal with all this posturing and arguing and holier-than-thou attitudes and people correcting folks when they don't know what the fuck they're talking about? When you could actually be getting a real education. Fancy that. Facebook groups are great for support, but nothing in this world will help you become a practitioner except being a practitioner. All right, y'all. Love, peace, and Afro Grease. Talk to you later. Bye.